If God foreknew that Satan would tempt and cause Adam and Eve to sin, why wouldn't he take steps to stop this and save mankind and perhaps himself all the trouble that the world has experienced right down to this day?
God has to allow Satan to tempt us, etc., because otherwise we cannot express our 100% free will. Think with me. God made the angels, and he can tell them what to do, and they will do it. Now, they must have some form of partial free will, because iniquity was found in Satan after he was created perfect. God knew that human beings, given 100% free will, would sin, and he had a plan to take care of the problem. But think with me, why did God do this? What was the motivation? The motivation is God wanted something in the universe, made in his image, that would worship him voluntarily for who he is, to love him for who he is, rather than for what he does for us. Here in the southeastern United States, we have an interesting expression. If you're looking at God as a big sugar daddy, you've got the wrong motivation. Meaning that if you love him only because of the good things he does for you, you've got the wrong motivation. He wanted you to love him regardless, whether you get in an automobile accident or in a wheelchair the rest of your life. Do you love him for who he is and not what he does for you? I mean, we've discussed before, how many salvations, Howard, could you and I get if we could promise everybody that once they became a Christian, nothing bad would happen to them the rest of their life? I mean, they'd be lining up in front of us forever to get in. But the fact of the matter is, when we have somebody come to salvation, the truth is that you will still have problems. Now, why does God allow the problems to happen? Because if you have nothing to exercise against, you will atrophy. And so the things that we have to deal with help to make us stronger, the way going to a gym makes you stronger. And so adversity is good for us by keeping us strong, because if we don't have adversity, we will fall for anything and become weak.
The way I look at it is that, because obviously this is a big question that's been asked here, is that when Satan raised his ugly head, you know, to start to question God's right to rule, etc., and Satan took it upon himself to actually convince, as it were, a third of the angels as well to side with him and say, well, you know what, God, you're wrong, and challenged him. But God could have wiped them all out right there and then, as the writer actually says in the email. You know, why God could have just saved himself a whole lot of trouble, and us. But if you think about it, if somebody says something bad about you, you could go and take them out. But it doesn't solve the issue, because somebody else who's still alive and lives with you is going to say, or next door to you, well, hang on a sec, there must be some truth in that. So you have to endure it. God had to endure, if you like, this particular maligning of him and who he was and his right to rule when Satan raised the question. And certainly we've seen the outworkings of satanic rule, if you like, or influence on mankind, and it's been nothing but pain in the bum, to put it nicely.